Okay, Purple for Parents Indiana is live. We'll wait a minute here to let some people get on. How's
Hi
it going,
guys,
Rhonda?
I'm good.
I'm
How are
doing good. Just busy, right?
you? I know, right? It's a beautiful day outside today. Wow.
Finally.
I know,
I've,
right?
I, I've been ready for the heat.
Yes, me too.
It took a little longer this year.
I know.
Let's see. I know my daughter's excited. She just got a tree house, so she is
I
ready.
saw that. How fun. Now she
Right?
has,
Yes. What?
now she just needs some furniture.
Yes. Don't say that too loud. I'll be next. All right, it looks like we have a couple people on. So we'll
So
wait.
exciting news. So I hope people join us.
I know. I think so. We had a really good turnout last time.
Yeah, we did. Some exciting things happening, that's for sure.
Yes. All right, so we'll just get going. I think they'll jump on here, but for anybody that's new, I am Jennifer with Purple for Parents, and I'm with Rhonda Miller, and we have been doing these live sessions. Hello, Vicki. We have been doing these live sessions now. I think is this our third one, maybe fourth one, and we are just trying to help people understand what's going on in the school system because it's pretty complicated. And tonight we wanted to go over what we are calling our community connect. So I'm sure a lot of people are really, worried about what they're seeing come out of the education system, and they are becoming aware that there is an issue, and they may not know exactly what the issue is or where it's stemming from, but they are starting to get involved. And that's good because we need everyone to get involved. And Rhonda and I decided, as Purple for Parents Indiana, we have been dug into this for quite a while, and we have a lot of information to share, and we want to help the communities across the entire state of Indiana come together so that we can work as one. Because just like the Indiana State Teachers Association, they have a loud voice because they all work together and they're not working just within their school districts. So we talked about it a little bit last week, but we have launched on our website what we are calling Community Connect, and we are asking people with their school districts to start a group, and it can be whatever social media you want. Whether you like Facebook or you don't like it, obviously that's where people are right now. But whatever social media site you would want to use, you can start a group. So for instance, we have in Hamilton County, we have several groups that have started up in each school district. And it gives the parents and honestly everybody, there's people that are, you do not have to have a kid in the school district to join because this is a taxpayer issue. This is an American issue. But you can join your school district so you can work within the issues that are specific to your school district. Then the school districts within the county, Rhonda and I are helping connect those school districts, right, within the county, and you guys would be able to support each other. And then through our Community Connect, Rhonda and I are heading up this statewide initiative to bring all of the communities, all of the counties together, because we have to change the education system. And that's what we're planning on doing. And we're going to do that a few different ways. This will be a tiered effort. So it would be district, county, and then statewide. And I like to say that we are going to take this movement all the way to the state house, because we're going to make the changes from the district level all the way to the top that are necessary. So if there are elected officials that are not on board with what we're trying to accomplish, we will, with our Community Connect, and as we build this over the next couple months, we will find people in those districts to run against you, because we are going to make the changes that are necessary to protect all children in this beautiful state of Indiana. Do you want to add something to that, Rhonda?
Well, I think that summed it up really good. We're really excited about this effort, and we're really excited about watching individuals get connected. I know it feels very, very lonely when you first get started, and we've had many people reaching out through our private page and saying, is there anybody in this community or this community? And so we're hoping to coordinate that effort for you so that you don't feel alone, and that you can start building within your own school district, as Jennifer said, and then we can coordinate countywide, because once we build one community, the next community over can be affected. And so you start building those bigger networks, and that's what we're excited to see. And we're already starting to see it in some areas where we've already been down to train and educate them. So it's exciting. We're hoping you guys will jump on board. And we're one big team. And like Jennifer said, we really want to impact what happens at the State House. We have to keep in mind that the teachers unions and the principals association, the school board association, they're very, very powerful at the State House. And once we have a united voice as taxpayers, we can offset that and come alongside those legislators who are willing to put their neck out on the line and to defend the taxpayer and parental rights. And we can come alongside them with some unified force. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yes, I agree. And like you just said, we have been traveling the state. We have been contacted. Our schedule is thankfully for the next few weeks starting to fill up, and we want to make it to everyone's community so that we can help you understand what's going on in the school. We can answer questions. We can help you get started. And I think what's really important for people to understand is nobody can do it all. You can't do it all. So if you are sitting at home listening to us right now and you're thinking, well, I'm not the one to start this group because I wouldn't run for office, or I don't really understand everything that's going on, I just know that there's a problem. We're talking to you, because you can absolutely be the one that says, hey, I'm going to start this group. Again, wherever you do it, whether it's a Facebook private group for your district, or you get on Gab or one of those other sites, or if you just have like a texting system, I would probably suggest some kind of social media for the conversation. But if you are the person that will at least start that, Rhonda and I will help you continue that movement, because we will help you get people in there. And believe me, once you start that and you say, look, I know there's a problem in the education system, and I'm starting this group for our school district so that we can come together, start getting to the school board meetings, kind of sorting this out, and we can start actually taking action instead of just complaining on social media like we're all guilty of doing, right? We will help you move it along. And we are putting together packets for those communities. If you're the person that starts the group, people will come and we will help you sort the people out, the leaders, and you will find people that will be willing to be boots on the ground. You will find people that will be willing to do the research. You'll find people that will be willing to run for office, right? So you don't have to do it all. And right now we're just asking for somebody in each district to step up and say, I will start the group. I will start that conversation, and then we will help you move it along.
Right. And once you've got that grouped form, then send us an invite, Jennifer and I both. And then what I will do is you have a file or a resource center where I will start dropping in resources and documents that each group is going to need to read through, so that you're educated on what the other side is being trained with. So those are valuable resources. So I will put those in there. We will also have some resources that we will give you. Resources such as how to go and replace your school board members, and different things that you can go after. We'll send you a sample FOIA letter because Freedom of Information requests. So we need to start filing those, and many of our people are doing that. So we're excited to see those steps being taken. But there are many, many resources that we have that we will start putting in your group for you to help you build that. And we will also, if we know of people in that area, we will also invite them to your page, and we will connect you with members that we already know of. So yes, once you set that group up, we will do that for you. We will also put in your legislatures. If you don't know who they are, we will help you get connected with who your legislatures are, so that you have their names, their emails, their phone numbers, so that when you get that group going, then it'll be important for you to start reaching out to them. Once you start building your foundation of what's happening in your schools, you can start contacting your legislatures and letting them know, and holding them responsible for those decisions that they have to make at the State House. So yes, we're very excited about being able to provide you with that. We just need you to launch the effort in your own school district.
Yes, and then the counties can support each other. And then when it comes time, something I hear often from legislators is, well, when the bills come up, right, or issues come up, we hear so much from the opposition. We hear so much from the teachers union, and that's because they've been doing this for a long time. They're very organized. They have a lot of money, all of that. But that doesn't mean that we can't be louder, okay? We just have never, I feel like, had that type of organization, and we're ready to do that. So as things come up or bills come up, Rhonda and I will be able to very quickly reach out to those leaders of each group and say, hey, we need you to get your group to make this phone call, send this email, or we will also have action days. Let's fill that state house with purple shirts instead of red, to let them know that the parents and the taxpayers are not happy. This has went in a bad direction, and we are going to take it back, and you're going to get on board, or we're going to run someone against you. And we have the tools to do it, and we don't want to overwhelm people. So we're going to move you through that slowly. And like I said, you don't have to do it all. We also, Rhonda, are in the process of setting up an online store. So this is kind of exciting, I think, to help bring us together. So we will have an online store. And if you say you have a group within your school district and you just want to get the Purple for Parents shirt, that's fine, and kind of show unity at those school board meetings, so that they realize that, that's alone is powerful to show up with people, in the same color to show unity. But if you also, we are offering, if you come under the umbrella of Purple for Parents Indiana, you can actually order a shirt where you could put your own logo or your own group name on there. So you would have, Purple for Parents Indiana as the statewide movement, and then your district name or logo. If you want to do that, we're also offering that. So we'll be able to get you hooked up that way. And so I think this is really exciting, and we have several communities that are working right now on launching that, and we want to get in every community. If you go to, I'm working on the website. It's almost there. I have the counties now listed. I was breaking it up by the districts, but it seemed to just be very overwhelming. So I'm now breaking it up by county. So you will be able to very soon, within the next couple of days, go on. You will be able to pull up your county, and you will be able to see what groups have kind of Rhonda and I's, stamp of approval for you to join if you're wanting to get involved. And even if you don't want to, necessarily do anything, but you just need the information, get in there and get it, because I believe it will motivate people once they have this information and knowledge to get involved.
That's right. That's absolutely right. We're really excited about the store. We're going to have some various other items on there besides t-shirts. So once that's launched, look for that, so you can put your Purple for Parents gear on and go out shopping, go out to the school board meetings, go out to various things, and form rallies if you want to, and get-togethers, and wear your purple shirts. So we're excited about that.
Yes, I get a question often, and you probably do, Rhonda, is why purple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people want to know. And so the idea behind the purple is because, honestly, we should be able to, in the state of Indiana and everywhere, but in Indiana, come together from both sides of the aisle, right? Blue and red. And we should be able to come together to protect the children. Our children should not be a political pawn. And that, unfortunately, is what has happened. And we want to protect parental rights and protect those children. Those kids are innocent, and they should not be part of this divide or part of politics. So that's the idea behind the purple, is that we should be able to come together and we should be able to, stop the politicking in schools.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will say also that when I was on the way to a conference, I had to stop in Kokomo and had to run into the gas station, and I was wearing my shirt, and it created a conversation because I stopped to get something to drink, and a guy was standing there. He goes, "Hey, what's up with Purple for Parents? What does that stand for?" So it created a really good conversation, and I was able to, talk to him about the concerns going on in education, and then he got to tell me, what he saw happening. So wearing these shirts out does create an opportunity to share and an opportunity to meet new people, and it's been very, very exciting to see that. So by all means, grab your purple shirt and wear it with pride.
Yes, I love that. And I think people would be surprised to know that I think people would be surprised to know the amount of people we actually do have from both sides of the aisle. I have been approached by people that say, I may not personally agree with some of the things that you personally believe in your life, but I do believe that none of this should be in our schools, and none of this should be on the backs of these innocent children. And so I think that's worth saying, is that people would be surprised. And right now, with this radical movement that's been happening in the schools, in the media, in businesses, it is really silencing people, and it makes people, almost fearful to speak out, because, you get attacked with stuff, especially if you're out there like Rhonda and I, but it's just one of those things, if that's what they're resorting to, they have no argument left. So, just don't worry about that. But I think it's worth noting that we have a lot of people that, the general audience would probably be very surprised that support what we're doing. Yeah. So with that being said, we have a few more. This is not going to be a really long live tonight, but we did drop a pretty explosive video today, just a few hours ago. So, if, on our public Facebook page, I actually have it pinned to the top, and it's only 6 minutes long. And I really hope people take the 6 minutes and watch it. And I hope that you will share it. I hope you share it with your friends. I hope you share it on your page if you feel comfortable, in groups that you know. I hope you share it with legislators that may not realize what's going on, because we're finding that as well. Or at least use it to say, hey, there's something going on here, because this specific video addresses what's behind the psychological manipulation of social emotional learning with the language manipulation and the neuroscience. That's a big one coming out of Butler, is this whole neuroscience and mindfulness. And this video really shows, I believe, why that is so dangerous and what's going on with SEL. They manipulate the language to mean and to shift your children's beliefs towards this radical ideology. And it doesn't matter what homes they come from. So specifically, like the whole gender ideology, the pronouns and what you call someone, and that you can be anything you want to be. That's an example, and that is something that they are using in the schools now. They believe they are filling it with books, and they are asking children what their preferred pronouns are. And while some people might, chuckle and laugh that off, there's a method behind this. And it is the constant repetition of the changed language, the game of semantics, because eventually people know that works. It changes. And if you destabilize language, you destabilize society, and you can shift it away from the system and what the norm was. And that's really the idea behind SEL.
That's absolutely true. And I would also add that, back when all that Lilly funding came through, one of the voices in that video, that video we launched today, was Dr. Karen Ephraim, late Dr. Karen Ephraim. And when all of that Lilly money was distributed to the schools, and I filed a Freedom of Information request with our local school and started digging through all of that. And after I had compiled all that information for three months, I was able to reach out to her. She lived in Florida, and I was able to reach out to her and had nearly an hour and a half conversation with her one day and laid all this out. And I said to her, I said, Dr. Ephraim, tell me where I'm wrong. What am I missing? I've got to be missing something. And she flat out told me, she said, no, Rhonda, you're not wrong at all. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly where it's headed. So everything that Jennifer and I are telling you was happening with social emotional. Dr. Ephraim had confirmed all of that years ago, and she had been, her website has a lot of documentation on edlibertywatch.org, and so that was where I pulled a lot of my resources originally, and we are seeing today play out what was warned years ago, and nobody was heeding that warning. So we're, Jennifer and I, we do take a lot of heat, we do take a lot of fire. And that's okay. You learn to have some pretty thick skin, even in your local communities, because you start feeling isolated. You feel like you got a target on your back. And you know what? I don't care, because I know the facts. I know the research I've done, and I've had the conversations with the experts, and I know what we're saying is true. So, fire those darts away. That's fine. Jennifer and I will be the lightning rod, and we will take the heat, because we've spent the time doing the research, and the documentation's all there. So share that video, share it with all your friends, your family, make sure it goes far and wide, because once again, these schools are further down the track than what we were just a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. And it's only going to get worse. As Jennifer had talked about earlier, we're in the middle of a 5-year project right now. That's the next level implementation. And so once that's done, it's across the entire state. Whether or not your school took Lilly money or not, initially, they're getting the implementation. There's schools that are still hiring those mental health counselors, because it's all tied into social emotional. And that's one of the steps that has to be implemented. So regardless of whether or not they took Lilly funding, they are still implementing the whole agenda. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that's a misconception right now, is people think it's not in my school. I'm telling you, if your children go to a public school in Indiana, it's absolutely in your school. It's just that some of these schools where you're seeing parents stand up against it and be a little louder and get some of the news coverage, it's just that those schools may be a little farther along. But it's part of that language manipulation. So parents don't realize it, because in Hamilton Southeastern, they call their program and they have different names than what Carmel has. And then, or in what, another Martinsville has, or Evansville, or Greenwood, it's all the same thing, and it's all in the schools. So if you think it's not there, you need to search your school website, or call and ask them. Ask if they use competencies that cover social and emotional needs. Ask them if they use competencies from Indiana or Castle. It's in your schools. It's in everyone's school. And so, speaking of the language manipulation, what we've been seeing recently is parents asking the superintendents of schools if they use critical race theory curriculum. Okay. And I put out something, I don't know, maybe in the last week, and I said, all right, stop asking if they're using critical race theory curriculum, because they're playing games. They know what you're asking, right? But they are saying no. And that's because within the school, there are 2 different areas. So you have the standards, and that is what the teachers are supposed to, they're required to teach, and they do that through their curriculum. The critical race theory is not necessarily in the curriculum. It is in the competencies of these mental health initiatives that are in the social emotional learning programs. It's in the competencies. And Rhonda and I have so much research. We have to laugh a little bit when the superintendents come out and say that you're wrong, we don't use critical race theory. And specifically, I mean, hey, if he's going to put it out there, I'm going to address it, okay? Because like I said, there's nothing that Rhonda and I say or put out that we can't prove. All right. Who on earth would take all of this heat and attention and put out stuff that you couldn't prove, except apparently our Indiana superintendent will do it. So we have, let's see, his name is Jeffrey Butts from the Metropolitan School District, Wayne Township. Okay, apparently, so I think parents, if you're out there fighting the fight, you're doing a great job, because Ron and I can tell you for sure people are paying attention. And so we know exactly what that means. That means we're going to double down. And here's the statement that he felt that he needed to put out today. Okay, I'm not going to read it all, but I'm going to read the beginning. It says, so recently you may have heard mentions of critical race theory, CRT, from media outlets and policy makers. The assertions being made that CRT is part of a student's curriculum in the MSD of Wayne Township are simply untrue. Okay, good job, Mr. Butts, because yeah, it's not in the curriculum, it's in the competencies, and we have your number, let me tell you. And so he carries on about how that as the superintendent of schools, he believes every educator in the school corporation has the responsibility to create a safe and nurturing environment for all students, and specifically those who have been traditionally and historically marginalized. Mr. Butts, do you understand what critical race theory is about? Because it is about the idea that marginalized situations are not situational. They are within our entire institution, and they need to dismantle it, right? He goes on to use all kinds of critical race theory buzzwords. So let's see. By creating an environment that is inclusive, that would be a critical race theory buzzword, and intentionally affirms and validates students who may be culturally and linguistically diverse, we improve our ability to provide equitable opportunities for all. That is critical race theory ideology. That you're making our point. So thank you, Mr. Butts. Our diversity is what makes Wayne Township such a great place to live and work, and for adults to send their students to school. Well, if you're so diverse and it's so wonderful, why do you need a program that believes that the system is systemically racist? Just wondering. He goes on to say, fortunately, I know diversity, racial equity, and inclusion are receiving a lot of attention right now in the media. And he continues denying that they use critical race theory. But I have news for him. He has social emotional learning in the school. That is the psychological manipulation through language and semantics and culture shifting to get your children to understand the world through a critical race theory lens. That's exactly what it is. That is the critical race theory that everyone is trying to find. So I'm so glad he made this statement today. He goes on to say what they do use. They use culturally responsive practices. Now they keep changing this, but actually originally it was culturally responsive teaching, which if it's CRT right there in front of you. He also says multiple perspectives, social emotional learning, and restorative practices. Restorative practices, let me tell you about that, Mr. Butts, comes directly from actually Black Lives Matter movement is pushing that, because they believe that it is not the individual's fault if they are misbehaving or unruly. It is society's fault that needs dismantled, okay? Because our country is founded on what they believe, again, critical race theory, that we are a nation built on racism, and that every single thing we do is because it benefits white supremacy. So your statement, just like many superintendents, it's just that you happen to do it today. So I thought you would be the one to, address today, is critical race theory. It's exactly what it is. You just made our point. And so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we can prove it. So if there's anyone out there that wants to reach out, and I can help with some resources. So, but I think it's pretty interesting, the language manipulation that the superintendents are trying to feed to the parents and the taxpayers, because we can prove that what you're saying is actually the opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm glad you read that, Jennifer. And I will say that, there's no question. These superintendents have all been educated on how to use the language. They're using the same talking points. They know how to manipulate the situation. And they've been trained on it. They've been trained on how to deal with, parents who are raising concerns, who are raising issues. They're all on the same page. I mean, yeah, there's no question. And so a lot of what he said, he may say happening, and they turn around and tells you that it is happening by using the talking points, which is very normal. We talked about that earlier before the show about the recent video that was shared on that page with Christy Berger, and I think her name was Lisa. I don't remember her last name, but
I think.
Yeah, and so they use language like that. I mean, Christy said, they're not manipulating. I don't remember how she said it exactly, but they're not manipulating the kids to, their values, behaviors, and beliefs or whatever. But yet went on to say that, that's how they're doing. I mean, so they know how to manipulate the words. Whatever they're telling you they're not doing, they are doing. So take that in notes and just know that when they tell you they're not doing it, they really are.
Yes. Yep. And ask them, say, no, not in the curriculum, but I want to know if your competencies are based on critical race theory. I want to know if CASEL, where you get your social emotional learning, and the competencies, I would like to know if their mission statement, and they have recently actually put out information about how they have to use the manipulation of our children to fix the inequities of our system. Ask that. So we can play language manipulation too. It's just that ours is actually real. So I think it's also important, while we're on this, is that for anybody that is pulling up anything from the Indiana Department of Education, I know we have a lot of people digging through all of their stuff, and you're doing awesome. You're sending stuff that will be perfect when we make our case. But they have started scrubbing stuff recently. They are deleting things specifically from Jennifer McCormick, because she was an absolute disaster and puppet of the teachers union. So if you find memos from her, we have a lot of them saved, but go ahead and just save them, maybe put them in a file. She specifically put out last year the memo that requested schools use the standards, the social justice standards from the, I kid you not, Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay. And so, but they're trying to scrub all of that so then they can still continue with their goals and their agenda through social emotional learning. But we don't have the materials to prove that what it is. Now, thankfully, Rhonda and I have your back. We have a lot of it. But when you find something, there has been a couple of things that recently that have come through, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. We'll add that. But so they are scrubbing stuff, which should tell you a lot, actually. And additionally, we are getting ready I'm going to put the first one on in the morning. It will be a short clip. We're going to keep them short, maybe 15 minutes. We're going to start putting out clips that we make with our slides to really make SEL as simple as we can. You can use these clips to share with people. You can use these clips to educate yourself, right? We are going to ask that you use them to educate other people that may have no idea what's going on, because they hear social emotional learning and they think, oh, they're just helping kids get along. Well, teachers helped kids get along for years and years and years. And they didn't have to do it by collecting mental health data on your children. They didn't have to do it with Gates and Zuckerberg money. They didn't have to do it with programs that cost millions of dollars. And when the grant money runs out, that's going to be on the taxpayer. They just did it because it's not that difficult. So there's a whole agenda there. Rhonda and I are going to help you sort it out, and we'll be putting out these short videos starting in the morning. I will have the first one on for you to help educate the communities.
Yeah, I'm excited about being able to do those. That will really train each of you in those short clips, and it will get you start digging. So we will give you the initial information. We'll share the websites with you where you can go and you can start doing your own research. And that's what we encourage you to do. Don't take our word for it. Go do your own research so that when you confront them, you have a better foundation from which you are able to stand. So we're excited to be able to launch that for you, and we'll be doing it over the next several weeks, actually. And then we'll be compiling those training videos in a larger capacity for each of your individual community groups. So yeah, make use of these short ones, and then we will get you the longer versions when you form your groups.
Yep, and we'll provide you a lot of information going forward, and we're going to make it simple. So we are here to back you up. We are here to move this statewide initiative forward, and we're really looking forward to working with everyone. Honestly, I think it's time. It's past time. So this is pretty exciting. Do you want to add anything, Rhonda?
Just that I am really excited to see where this heads, and we're just thankful for each and every one of you who have stood alongside Jennifer and I both, and fought alongside us and helped do the initial, the digging and the research, and pick up those mantles when we need you to. So we're just thankful for each and every one of you. So we just ask that you make sure you like and share this video and get the word out and start having those conversations with your family, friends, and your community members, and then start forming those groups.
Yes. I think that's a wrap. And don't forget to watch the video that we have pinned to the top of our public page and share it everywhere. Send it to media, send it everywhere, because we are more than willing to answer to it, because it's absolutely correct in what's happening in the school. So please take 6 minutes and watch that and share it. So, all right, have a good night.
Good night, guys.